Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy,
invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy,
building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 54. Hi everyone, welcome back to Mighty Married Moms. Today we are going to be talking about our recent interview with Swamiji, who was a fascinating individual.
Totally. Fascinating.
Yeah, he has so much varied background and expertise, and we just barely scratched the surface of this, and we had a great interview. I would love to hear from you, Linda and Wendy. What really stuck out for you?
Can I say the number one thing that stuck out for me?
Sure.
He was a kind soul.
Yes.
There's just something so warm
Let's
and
talk about it in the present tense.
Yes, he is a kind soul, right. It's just so nice to be in conversation with somebody who's a kind soul, who has a lot of wisdom to impart, but doesn't do it in a way that says, I know this, let me give it to you, you poor thing that doesn't have it. There was a real exchange and a real dialogue that I really valued in what he had to say.
Yeah.
And then, of course, his content was really exciting to me.
Mm-hmm. Extremely exciting. And I think one of the most interesting things, I know we were just saying it before we came on the recording, but just talking about how science has been leading the way and culturally we are catching up. So we went through an exercise with him during our interview, a tapping exercise, EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, which is, for a lot of people, is woo-woo, like, oh yeah, okay, I think I'll be going the other way, right? And he was really talking about, the science has always been there, that we are an energy pathway. We're an ecosystem. I always talk about that. We're an energy pathway, and so it does make sense if we can shift our energy, that we can change the way we think and change the way we approach life. So, and that science is, we're starting to see more of the Western and Eastern philosophy coming together.
Right.
Because science is starting to, see the connection and actually study it and put out what we always think we need is proof, right? We need the proof. Come on, tell me, does this really work?
Right.
I need to see a study.
Right.
Give me a study.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where's the study on whether or not I really love my husband Jeff? Where's that study? Right. That's what that linkage between give me proof. We don't live that way. We live by faith. Can I just tell you? We all, you watching, listening, we all live by faith. And I'll tell you why. Because I chose to sit in this chair.
And it didn't
I
fall
didn't
through.
study it. Mm-hmm. I didn't flip it around. I didn't examine it to make sure it was okay. I just sat. I get in my car, I drive to work, or I drive where I'm going to go. I have every faith in the world that I'm going to get to my destination. But I have no proof that I'm going to get to my... You're right? But we live in a very different way than we actually require of certain things. So I'm learning at the ancient age that I've achieved here to actually think about things that other people have been doing for 30, 40 years, like Swamiji. He's been meditating and working on that energy system, and to say, okay, I'm willing to go down that path with you. I don't have to flip your chair over and examine everything underneath it. I'm willing to kind of entertain that this is real and this is so.
Yeah.
He really was helpful in opening, and his analogy of, like you said, the energy system, calling it, what do you call it, like the superhighway?
Yeah.
And that when something comes, and all of a sudden we start to rubberneck, when something comes up, we look back and everything slows down, the traffic slows down, our energy slows down. I was like, okay.
That's a good visual.
Very good visual.
The
really
bottleneck, right? There's an accident, all of a sudden traffic bottlenecks, or it's raining out and the traffic bottlenecks, right? You think, why is it happening? So it does. It happens physically in our body, and that
it starts emotionally and it exhibits itself physically.
It starts emotionally and exhibits itself. Yeah,
that emotions start with thoughts.
Yes.
So if you really go all the way back, our thoughts, the things that run through our heads, cause us to have emotions, and the emotions that
cause
we
us to have actions.
Cause us to have actions, and they cause our bodies to have chemical reactions.
Right.
And so that, so it all starts with our thoughts.
Yes. Our mind is so terribly powerful.
Yeah.
And we're just so not tapping into that power like we could be.
No pun intended.
Oh gosh,
well, I mean, what we talked in our first podcast with Dr. Kim Duramo, right? Talking about the mind-body toolkit that she has put together because of physical challenges and understanding the emotional and spiritual energy that needed to shift to heal those, not medications, not other things that we have most traditionally understood as the cure. Because as Swamiji said, we've been thinking science in Western culture of like we're like robots and we have all these pieces and these parts. So if something goes wrong, there must be something wrong with that part and something wrong with that part, but not treating it as a whole.
Right.
So,
and we kind of talked a little bit about this too when we interviewed Brian Johnson. I see a lot of overlap with our conversations with Kim Duramo and Brian Johnson, and just beginning to understand, recognizing the fact that there's a lot we don't understand, and being okay with that to some extent.
Right, making a lot of assumptions about how we actually work or how stress is handled, and some people think, oh, I have stress, I better go get that Valium. There are so many other things to be done besides...
Well, it's interesting. I think it's commonly accepted too, right? That we only use 5% of our brain, or
Approximately,
whatever
yeah.
approximately it is. I think people generally accept that and believe it, and don't have to test the chair before they sit
Especially
in
if
it.
we have children, we believe that.
Yeah. But we believe that, yet we're not giving credibility to that 95% that we're not using. Like we're sort of skeptical. Oh, come on, energy or
It's
tapping
the subconscious
or
part that
woo-woo.
we're not,
We really kind of get defensive and I don't know, but if there's 95% of our brain that we're not tapping into, no pun intended, but that we're not accessing, why not?
Right.
Why not? Is that not possible?
Right.
It definitely is possible, and people are proving it over and over and over and over and over again on all across the board, and different practitioners, all kinds of practitioners are starting to learn about it. And he was saying that he's now teaching mostly medical doctors, nurses, surgeons,
which is great,
right?
yeah.
And they're wanting to learn it. They're hungry to learn it because they're seeing that what they're doing now and prescribing drugs and surgery isn't really helping. We're getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
Right.
So something's going on, that something needs to shift.
He said that, what was it, 5 or 6 stages of Ayurvedic medicine?
6 stages.
6 stages. And he said where the Western medicine fits in really well is in stages 5 and 6. And by that point in time, the tumor has grown, the stomach has rotted, whatever's happening is showing up. Literally showing up in the body, showing up on an x-ray, showing up somehow. But there are so many more stages before that, and he said the Ayurvedic system is kind of key in those stages 1 through 4.
Right.
And sounds like those surgeons, nurses, doctors are recognizing, like, we're at the tail end of the dog. Is it possible to come a little bit closer to the origins of where this stuff is actually emanating from? I found that really helpful. Hopeful and helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that he also talked about, we were talking about food and behavior. And Linda, I wonder if you could unpack that a little bit more for us too, in terms of stress and you are what you eat and those sorts of things. So.
He talked about, you are what you eat, right? So if you eat junky food, you're going to have a junky attitude, was I think what he said, and it is very true. I think people don't understand that their digestive system is, in a lot of ways, is the center of the universe as far as your physical being. And if you have a compromised digestive system, which most people do, on some level, it's going to affect your emotional health, and depression, anxiety, all that is linked now to the digestive tract. And are you taking care of your digestive tract? So that's something that I focus on a lot with people, is let's start with the digestive tract. Let's kind of start to clear that out, because that is going to make a huge impact on your health. And Swamiji said it as well. If you just take out white sugar, white flour, right, all those simple
in 2
carbs.
weeks, you're going to be amazed.
Yeah, for 2 weeks, just do that alone. You
Just test it. Test it.
Blown away by the results. Honestly, you really will. It's incredible, and I've taken hundreds of people through a cleansing program that I do, which we do pretty much just that, and we kind of do a step-by-step process, and it's incredible, right?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
you feel energy, you're sharp focus, your skin looks good, it's incredible what healthy food will do for your body. It's amazing.
Yes.
Can I wait to start that till after Easter?
Okay.
A little bit of chocolate on
chocolate,
Easter.
A lot of
Yeah,
chocolate
yeah.
on Easter. Can you say a little bit about the connection when people talk about the digestive system? I'm imagining that people are saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to be sitting on my commode," but the other piece that I find fascinating when you talk is the leaky gut syndrome. Can you talk about that and how most of us have leaky gut?
Yeah, most of them have leaky gut, which is just a weakening of your digestive system because of the white flour and the sugar, and you're not eating, most people don't eat very much fiber. So we think of bread as fiber, but it's really not if you're eating processed bread. There's no fiber there. So if you're not putting fiber in your body, you're weakening your body's ability to get rid of all the bad stuff and absorb the good stuff. So it starts to just the folds get saggy. Yeah, and then that's where the damage starts to happen, and then you start to leak toxins into your system.
Yeah, so things that are supposed to remain in that tube of your digestive system actually leak out into your greater system.
Well, they're remaining because they're not moving fast enough through.
Right.
So it's time for your body to, start to create the toxins and they start to go out. Where if you're eating a lot of fiber, it's pushing things through as they're supposed to be. That peristaltic action is working well. The muscles are strong, pushing stuff out that your body doesn't need and absorbing the good stuff that your body does need. Okay. But another thing I thought that Swamiji said that I thought was also very interesting is that your attitude and your energy around the food. If you're angry and your energy, then you're not going to absorb the good nutrients. So if you don't,
that was fascinating.
That was really fascinating. And I've definitely, read and thought about that whole blessing your food and appreciating.
Actually, I think we talked about that after the recording. So
we did. That's right.
Bit.
We did talk about it after the recording, but I've talked about it with my groups too. Is when you are, it's important to eat grass-fed, locally grown because you're eating animals that have been loved, and there's a lot to do with energy in food. So the energy of the food coming from the animal, living a happy, fulfilled life, and from you. Blessing and thanking and feeling gratefulness for the sacrifice of the animal or gratefulness of the food that's come out of the ground, because everything is energy. It's not just human beings are the only important energy in the world and everything else is less than. We're all energy. We're all part of the same thing. So it is really important, and it makes a big difference. And I think if you try it, and if you don't want to be embarrassed and do it in front of anyone, just think it in your mind and be grateful for whatever the food is you're eating. It doesn't have to be a blessing from anybody else but yourself, but feeling grateful for the food that you have. It goes into your body very differently, and Swamiji was saying it actually absorbs differently.
Which is fascinating.
Totally fascinating.
Yeah. It makes me wonder in our Christian tradition and probably Christian Judeo tradition about blessing the food. I mean, that came from, if you read sections of the Old Testament, a lot of that was written in order to protect people. A lot of the commands were there to protect people, and they didn't understand, not eating pig or pork because of the way it was prepared and all this other stuff. And now we understand why that was a command at that time.
Right.
And so blessing your food before you eat it was a way is clearly now I understand is not just connecting me with my higher source, but also helping me get into the right frame of mind in order to absorb the food in a better way and a healthier way. So that's
what it reminds me of when we talked with Dr. Kim Duramo again, when she talked about the fact that people who are, maybe this is what I took away. I've been overweight most of my life, and bad Wendy, bad eating, bad. Whereas if I begin to be more sympathetic and kind toward myself, then my body and my mind and my heart are working together as opposed to always being in resistance and anger. So it's a similar sort of a thing. I've got a plate full of food in front of me, just to take a deep breath and appreciate, wow, I can't believe it. We made enough money this week that I could buy the food, that I could prepare the food, that I could eat the food. It isn't this great. It's a wonderful thing. There are so many people who aren't as blessed as I am to be able to sit in front of a plate of food. This is great. And to kind of align yourself that way. And I can imagine that the digestion or the taking it in is you're not fighting it. You're not or fighting I have to eat this fast or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think on that note too, I think one of the reasons we're sort of feeling very peaceful after that interview was just sort of like some magic happened, this energy shift happened, and he took us through a tapping exercise, and tapping is all about that. I love and value myself. Right. I see what I'm stressed out about. I understand you, but I love and accept you, and I love and accept myself. And, and the whole thing of doing that, and it was extremely powerful. It took a matter of less than 60 seconds, I think, or whatever it was. It was very short. And so I hope that you will definitely watch it. you definitely want to and listen to it because he did explain it as he was going along. If you're on iTunes and you're listening, and it was very, very powerful, and it's something that you could apply to anything that's going on physically, emotionally, whatever is going on in your life. You could do this tapping technique, and it makes a big difference. It's huge because if you it's like if you're in that traffic and the accident has happened, right? It's when the accident is cleared up that the traffic starts to move again.
Yeah.
Well, doing this tapping technique is like pulling that wrecked car off the road so that your energy can flow. And when your energy can flow better, you're going to be more creative. You're going to have more energy to do the things that you need to do with your life.
And there's the important point is, you're not fooling anybody. There's still a wrecked car that needs to be taken care of, but it's off the highway and you can begin to proceed again. And it's gone where it needs to go. So if we just take that in our, like he said, think of something that you're under stress about. So I was thinking about, whatever I was thinking about, my problem. So my problem feels like, it clutches at my neck and clutches at my stomach and it feels like an 8. And at the end of that, I seriously went down saying, that problem, it hasn't gone anywhere. But I can cope with it because it feels like it's at a 4. And I can take a deep breath and say, I've been through 8s before. This is gonna, so there's just something, or I gotta put that thing up on the truck and bring it to the garage and get the car taken care of in this accident model, right? You know what I mean? So it was very, very helpful. So it isn't like we're being woo-woo, like, oh yeah, sure, the problems are gone. No, but our approach to it is moderated.
Well, and what happens is, I've done a little bit of reading about, I'm not an expert on EFT tapping at all, but I've started doing a little bit of reading because I'm intrigued by it. And my understanding is what you're doing, part of it is the energy flow and you're getting the energy in your body to keep moving. But the issue is you get stuck on these negative thoughts and your brain is wired to protect you with these negative thoughts. And so what you're doing is you're doing a pattern interrupt. When you're thinking, you actually state the negative thought that is bothering you, this thing that you're concerned about, this issue. You state it, but you're doing this tapping on this particular spot in your body that causes a pattern interrupt in your brain, and it's able to bring you down to a level of calm. And once you're calm, then the prefrontal cortex of your brain is able to jump in and help you begin to be creative and solve the problem.
Isn't that great?
And that's what's happening.
And really, to bring tapping to a little bit more of a more traditional, practical sense, just think of it, it's under the umbrella of acupuncture, right? So acupuncture is working in the same way. This putting the needles in to interrupt those energy patterns in your body. And I think people are starting to understand the power of acupuncture. So I think it's only a matter of time before EFT is going to be something that we all
it's just a normal
practice.
Thing.
Going to be a normal
just like
normal
meditation is becoming more normal
Totally.
now.
Absolutely.
I think EFT is the next thing.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too. I mean, we keeps coming
keeps
to us,
coming through.
Everybody, a lot of the people that we've been interviewing are very familiar with it or practice it or are practitioners, and we're going to have more, and we're going to learn more about it.
We have more Ayurvedic people coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been accidental, but it's been a happy accident, I think. So.
Yeah,
and the reason
and maybe not an accident,
maybe
right?
Not,
We're drawing it in because
accidents.
it's important for us, and we know it's important for you as well.
Yeah.
We want to give people tools that they can walk away with at the end of every single episode where they're going to go, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try taking a deep breath and, doing a little bit of tapping and trying to just say, you know what, I want to interrupt that circuit and see if I can take that 8 and bring it down to a 4. Try it. You will.
It.
And that's what we're all about here is we're trying to give everybody, all Mighty Married Moms, tools to really incorporate as soon as we say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not sooner.
Which we do need to do right now.
Yes. And so actually, if you would like to find out more from our guest Swamiji, you can go to his website at thehipguru.com, and that is literally THEHIPGURU.com, The Hip Guru. And he has some tapping meditations there as well as a variety of other resources, so we encourage you to go check that out for sure. And of course, please go check out our own website at mightymarriedmoms.com, and we ask you please to share this podcast, this episode on YouTube.
Make some comments.
Make some comments. We would love to hear from you, so please contact us and let us know what you want to know about, and we will see if we can get some guests to talk about the topics that are especially interesting to you in our future episodes.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you next time.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.